For our United Way Spotlight of the Week, I'm joined by Caleb Burke from Resolve Counselling. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So you deal a lot with families, and the one program that I was fascinated by was Caring Fathers. I came from that generation where dad brought home a paycheck, full stop. That was the extent of their parenting, was to put food on the table, but that's all changed. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So the program that we run, we've been running it for about, I would say maybe 5 years now. And the United Way were the first organization to help us fund that when we were just doing it as a pilot project. The program really looks at helping dads understand how important they are in the family structure, how important they are to their children, how important they are to their partners, and the fact that just bringing home a paycheck is not really the only role you have as a parent. And so we look at things like what are healthy and unhealthy parenting behaviors? What does it mean to be child-centered? How can we learn to understand our children better and connect with them really well? We like to have fun doing it, but there are a lot of difficult discussions that really dig into how dads have been unhealthy and impacted their kids or their kid's mother in difficult ways that they can take responsibility for and look at changing. So we quite enjoy the program, and we're finding that it is having a really good impact on the dads in the group.
Do you find the people who sign up for this program, they're the ones who they're doing a pretty good job, they just want to fine tune and just do that much better, or the ones that are, whoa, yeah, they just really didn't seem to know what they were getting into?
Well, for the program that we run, it is for more the high risk dads. I don't really like using the term high risk, but technically that's what it's called. We do have a number of dads that are voluntary participants, but we also have dads that are told to participate either by courts, by probation, by CAS. And we do have a pretty good mixture. I actually remember having a child's mother give me a call and say, my husband really needs to take your program. So sometimes it's voluntary, sometimes it's not quite as voluntary. But yeah, it's more so the high risk guys that we tend to work with.
Do they want to be there?
Well, yeah, it's really nice because the focus is on parenting and connecting with your kids. We've never had a dad that's come into the program and says, I don't love my kids. I don't want to learn how to connect with them better. So it's really good hook to get dads into the program is it's about connecting with your kids. There are some dads that are a bit frustrated with it, but by session 2 or 3, most of them really understand that we're here just to support you as dads. And a lot of dads don't find that there is enough support out there, and we're one of those places that can support dads well.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that a fellow who spent time with his children, it was kind of frowned on.
Absolutely.
Men who never changed a diaper was not uncommon, and but maybe that was before dual incomes. So when you got 2 people out working, you both better pitch in, or it's just not a fair work-life balance for one if the other isn't pitching in. Is that kind of sum it up?
Absolutely. And a lot of the guys, one of the things we talk about with the guys is that you were parented in a certain way, and we need to figure out, is that way healthy for you today, or is it not healthy for you today? Does it fit what we need from fathers, or do we need more? And like you said, because there's a lot of families with dual incomes, that's pretty much required these days with finances. It is important for dads to really learn to step up. Now, the interesting thing is a lot of fathers find that they're even having a hard time talking to their friends about this, because there is still that stigma that's held on from past generations that that it's almost weak to be a family man. And being able to jump in with your kids. I've worked with fathers that they have really young daughters, and they're like, I have no idea how to have a tea party. But then they come back the next week and they said, I think I failed at it, but my daughter had fun. And it's like, well, you didn't fail. If you're having fun with your kids, you're not failing, you're doing well. And it's really, really encouraging seeing dads be willing to trip up, be willing to make embarrassments of themselves for the purpose of connecting with their kids. But then there's also the more difficult conversations we have about what abuse looks like, what harming kids or neglect can look like, even if it's not towards the kids directly, it might be towards the children's mother and how that impacts your kids. And so we definitely look at increasing the positive, the start behaviors, but we also look at decreasing the negative or the stop behaviors.
Wouldn't it be a great idea if the Children's Aid ran courses for people who are planning to become parents, not after they have become parents, and just this is what you're in for, and this is what reality looks like, and sometimes it's too late now. What are you going to do? And they have to start. For the husbands, fathers out there, what would you say is a minimum requirement in being a father in the year 2021?
Well, that's interesting. Last week in our group, we actually had that conversation of what does it look like to be at least just a dad, right? There's unhealthy dads, there's dad of the year, but at least just a dad, middle of the ground. One of the biggest things that came out of that conversation is showing up. Show up to your kids' events. Show up and spend time, even if you aren't sure what questions to ask, aren't sure what your kids are interested in. If you're nervous about not knowing what TikTok is all about, just show up and try, right? You might make mistakes, but your kids will remember that dad was there rather than dad didn't make mistakes, but he was never there. So showing up, I think, is the absolutely foundational key aspect of fathering, really.
That's great advice. So tell me what United Way has done for this project.
Absolutely. The Caring Dads Project program, it's started in Canada, but it's all over the world at this point in time. The difficult thing with any program, especially at non-for-profit organizations like Resolve Counselling, is getting funding to get it up on its feet. And the United Way, thankfully, was able to see the importance of this because it really helps with reducing domestic violence towards children's mothers or towards children. It really helps with increasing fathers' roles and reducing recidivism. And United Way really gave us that opportunity to prove ourselves here in Kingston. The programs are also running in Ottawa and Toronto, but dads don't want to drive 2 to 3 hours to go to a program for 2 hours and then drive 2 to 3 hours back home. So having something local here in the Kingston area has been hugely important for dads, and United Way really helped us start that. We are getting funding elsewhere now, but the United Way gave us that initial push.
That's great. Thank you so much for being with us today. This is really interesting.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here.